Okay, so if you're filling out the Common App, you're gonna see this section where they ask you whether or not you want to waive your FERPA rights. This video is gonna explain what FERPA rights are and whether you should waive them. Now, short answer, yes, waive your FERPA rights. Now, long answer. So FERPA stands for Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. It's a federal law in the United States that applies to all schools, including colleges and high schools. So this law covers a lot of things like the privacy of student records and how schools can release those records. But the part that's most pertinent to college admissions is the part where this law says that students have a right to see their education records, including recommendation letters. That's the law. Now, Common App asks you whether you want to waive those FERPA rights. If you choose to waive a right, that means you no longer have access to that right. You've given up that right. So if you waive your FERPA rights, that means you no longer have the right to see those education records like the teacher rec letters. Now, you might be wondering, why would I ever want to waive my FERPA rights? Doesn't this sound great that you can have access to your teacher's rec letters? Well, yeah, it sounds great, but then think about it, right? If you are able to access your teacher's rec letters and read your teacher's rec letters, that's going to ruin the credibility of those rec letters. Because if your teacher knows that you can read their rec letter at some point in the future, they're going to be kind of pressured to write something nice about you because they wouldn't want to write something terrible about you and then have you read that letter later on, right? They don't want that. But if your teacher knows that you won't read their rec letter because you waived your FERPA rights, then they can more freely express their opinion. They're going to be more free to, write what they actually think of you. Now, don't worry, it's exceedingly rare that a teacher, because you waived your FERPA rights, they're going to start writing all these terrible things about you in their rec letter. That doesn't happen because, number one, you asked your teacher, so you must think that teacher likes you, and you must like the teacher, and you must want that teacher to write a rec letter for you. So, unless you just made a terrible judgment, they're probably not going to write terrible things about you. Number two, the teacher said yes to your request to write a rec letter for you. So if they said yes to you, that probably means they're going to write a good rec letter. It's very rare that a teacher will say yes to writing a rec letter and then just turn around and write a terrible letter. That just doesn't happen. They'd rather just say no. So because of these reasons, you don't have to worry about, your teachers writing really bad rec letters if you waive your FERPA rights. Simply put, waiving your FERPA rights, meaning that you waive your right to see your rec letter, means that your teacher can write a truthful and honest rec letter about you. If you don't waive your FERPA rights, colleges can actually see that you did not do that. It's literally at the top of every page that you submit in the Common App. So they're going to view your teacher's rec letters for you with a bit more suspicion because of the reasons I said before. Now, one more thing I want to address is that waiving your FERPA rights doesn't ban you from reading your teacher's rec letter. It just removes your right to see that rec letter. So let me explain with an example. If you waive your FERPA rights, you cannot go to your teacher and say, show me your rec letter. You can't do that. Or when you go to college and when you look at your admissions file, you can't say, all right, now I want to see my teacher's rec letter from high school. Not allowed because you waived your FERPA rights. But what can happen is that your teacher can choose to share their rec letter with you. And I know some teachers do this where they share a rec letter with a student. That's up to the teacher. So if the teacher wants to, he or she can show you the letter, but you cannot go ahead and demand to see it. So if your teacher asks you, do you want to read the rec letter? You don't have to say no because they're the one that's asking you, right? But you just can't demand to them. So hopefully that makes sense. And if you guys have any questions about FERPA, I'm not a lawyer or anything, but you can go ahead and drop those questions down below and I can answer them to the best of my ability. All right, guys, so that is going to be it for this video. I do hope you guys enjoyed this one. Go ahead and give it a like down below if you did. And also make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel if you haven't already so that you never miss a single college advice upload. All right, guys, until next time, I will see you guys later. Peace.